yesterday. By the way, we have things happen every day, right? And so what happened was, in my speed to do something, I sent money to a wrong person on Venmo. And I wasn't too worried about it, honestly. This is somewhat my nature. I went, oh, shucks, I'll just ask for the money back. And I went to ask for the money back, and they declined my request. And that started a nice reaction for me. I thought, that's interesting. She might not be understanding the situation. So I wrote a letter, just saying, oops, I think there was a mistake. Let's not worry about it. We're going to talk about cool heroism today. Here's me, the cool hero. Don't worry. We've all got this. No problem. I feel a little like, whoops, that was the wrong thing, but I'm owning it. And I write her and say, oops, you just declined my request for the money I accidentally sent you. And she wrote back, I don't know you. And when that happened, I noticed a lot of things. I noticed a real energy surge, wait a minute, that's not right. This is wrong. You're not, whoa. Now I am going to become an activist. I'll call myself there. And I recognize that acting, not a good plan. Not that good a plan. Not just yet. Why?
Because it's reactive.
Reactive. I can feel it. I'm hot. The energy's there. I'm going, who are you? But wait a minute. You. Who do you think? Part of the reason. What else? Why am I no, don't think it'd be a good idea just right now to write a response to this. I'm probably going to, whatever I say now, right, even when it's in writing, is not likely to be of real benefit. We could say that, right? Even if I mean, in my particular moment, the benefit for me would be getting my money back. But that's not the benefit we talk about here, is it? That's not actually the benefit. It doesn't mean it doesn't get to be a part of the benefit, but it's not the whole benefit. What's the whole benefit? Cool heroism. Who does it benefit? Everyone. Cool heroism benefits the hero, those who are being assisted, and all beings, right? And so I realize I'm probably not in the heart mind to help her right now. I am in the heart mind to get my money. I am in the heart mind to go, wait a minute, you took the money and didn't know me, but now you're rejecting and you don't know me. That's a little interesting and skewed. And so I talk to myself. I do this a lot. I talk to myself and I say, as long as you can feel this energy with this contraction, key piece, not just energy. Energy is often useful, isn't it? It can be very useful. With this contraction and this you looming, big Y-O-U, looming, I probably should not act. But I have a lot of energy now. I can even feel the heat. So then what's a good plan? What does our practice suggest? If you can. I was not available for that right then. But yes, you could breathe. Now, the research, by the way, says after a 6.5 on a 10-point distress scale, breathing is not your best option. Take notes. Take notes. Why is it? After a 6.5 on a 10-point distress scale, meaning fabulous over here, 1, really dangerous over here, 10.
Is the fuel of distress?
Fuels distress, fuels aggression, cannot be contained. Your brainstem and adrenaline, all that endorphins, all have you. You do not have it. And you are most likely to cause harm from that place. Now, I'm going to use medical professionals over here, Renee and Carrie. There is a certain amount of adrenaline, a certain amount of energy. It's not with aggression. It's with the prompt for action. But guess what the prompt is? To be of assistance, to be of benefit, right? So it isn't only adrenaline. By the way, it's not true. People say anytime there's that level of adrenaline, no good comes. Well, look at Kobe Bryant. Look at all those amazing athletes. Look, right? They take all that, look at those race car drivers. Look at those, they take all that adrenaline and have trained for channeling. And so you make that beautiful incision, right? You take that beautiful shot. It's good news. That's training. That's not random. And so you and I are in training, aren't we? We're in training to feel that same adrenaline, to feel that same contraction, to have that same you mind and go, no, I'm going to wait till I can contribute to who? Everyone. Everyone and everything. This is a big practice.
So it's almost like trying to make it. So
It is. That's exactly right. Renee said muscle memory. Yes. You're going to feel that. And right now the impulse is going to win. I'm going to feel that. And then I'm going to impulsively or compulsively, depending on where it is, act in a way that we know for sure is blinded. We know for sure. I just want you to think for a moment before our practice, because we're going to use it. Where has been a moment where you felt that contraction, you felt that heat, you felt the impulse? Because guess what? It's not pleasant. We don't like it, and we do want to get rid of it. And we decide that the way to get rid of it is to get it over there on you. Right? And then we do say, think, speak, act, right from, and by the way, even if the person didn't react, and mostly they will, because they don't have that training either, right? And so who do we blame? Right? Who do we blame?
easier.
It's easier to take that distress experience, fling it over there like a cannonball onto the you, to the othering. And so we're going to talk today about what are the three methods, at least. Shantideva, who we have read in the Bodhisattva, the Way of the Bodhisattva, has some ideas about what do you do right in the fire? What do you do right in the heat so that you stay in training, right? And the work is to remember that this is training, you're growing every moment, and you're going to be offered opportunity frequently, maybe every day, in which to experience that, not impulse or compulsively act, and then to become skillful, right? Wouldn't that be amazing? Right? And then that turns all fireworks, since it's the 4th of July weekend, it turns all fireworks into that brilliant and beautiful light, not the kaboom of disaster or conflict or aggression or blame, right? These are what otherwise, with that same energy, will occur.
You said that you talk a lot to yourself.
Yes,
Is
out
that-
loud,
But is that more regulating than
very much more.
breathing? Okay.
Mhm.
So it brings a different part of the brain in or something.
Yes, it does. You're not only speaking, you're hearing.
Right.
So even if you do use breathing, your first pause is the point.
restraint is required, isn't it, in energy? Otherwise the impulse wins. So you've got to find a way to stop, or in the traditional terms, they call that renunciation. How do you not just go when everything in the mind body says, how do you not go? Right then, when everything goes whoosh, it's like a river running wild. Training. And the pause is first. The pause, in fact, is really what? Anybody know what that pause is? Because, by the way, that could be 1.5 seconds in. What's the pause? Really? Recognition. That's what the pause is. The pause is, uh-oh, danger will result. Harm will be caused. I am not okay. I caught the I'm not okay part. Uh-oh, this isn't going to go well if I just do what my impulse is to do. And so with recognition, we hesitate, right? We hesitate. And then the very best thing the neuroscience says is redirect. Place that energy, because you can't get rid of it magically. That's why the 6.5 and after doesn't work. Because why we breathe is to reduce that energy. After a 6.5, we can't do that anymore. There's too much, it's already released.
Is that like pain management? They say get it at 3. If you go over that,
Act when you can, catch it early. But after 6.5, you will not be able to reduce the not good feeling. And remember what the brainstem's #1 interest is. Get me out of this distress and discomfort. #1. #1. It's how we go to war. That's how we go to war. It's that easy, don't we? Somebody puts something over, you go, watch this. I got a bigger thing and more guys and right. And then harm is caused, as we know. We're watching that, aren't we? With Russia and Ukraine. All right, so we're going to practice with this. Let's see how we do. I'm not going to get that. I'm going to go with this. And see if we can't find ways to make contact with the experience, hold it for a moment. Again, in real life, that will just be that pause that Renee's talking about. That's that recognition arising. And then what do we do? What do we do? We're going to see. All right. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Look forward to this practice. And so finding a comfortable posture, we're going to strongly intention this posture. Strongly intention it. And that what I mean by that is really know how you are, as well as anchor sufficiently. Anchor sufficiently. This is the kind of practice where I don't like parts hanging. Really find your feet, find your seat, place the hands with intention so that we can feel them. Here we go. And then we call to mind all those who we have harmed by that impulse, by that energy, by that aggression. We call to mind blame, judgments, criticism, condemnation, aggression, gossip can fall into this category. And now we, with a real friendliness, a real kindness directed towards one's own pain, we set the aspiration to awaken from the dream, from the delusion of separation, from the delusion that harming another will benefit the self. It's not possible. And with the recollection of intra-connectedness, that my aggression, my hostility can only cause harm, beginning with me. Beginning with me. And we wish for the ease, for the well-being, for the release, and for the skillfulness that this training will invite. May all beings then have ease, be well, and free. And the contour of our training is such that the very first, always required work is coming home to ourselves and stabilizing the mind. We don't just take a good idea and run off. We come back to the body. The whole body. The feet, the seat, the hands, and the uprightness of the head. And then we commit ourselves. We commit ourselves to resting the attention somewhere in that breathscape. And you want to anchor there wholeheartedly. Which means with intention, which at the early stage of the practice is required every breath. And then with commitment, you give it everything you've got. Remember, we're not trying to change the breath. We're not trying to change the body. We're inviting the mind and one's whole heart to know how things are. There may be energy in the body may have pleasant and unpleasant sensations. We're just resting with, being with, breathing with whatever is arising in the mind body right now. This is an essential part of the training. Even when it feels like nothing, it's not true. Can I bear my own experience? Can I stay in my own body? For just this one breath, remember the practice is continuous. This is one of the reasons we practice every day, because we are sharpening, strengthening the capacity to abide the experience, whatever it is. And remember, our commitment as a Sangha is to practice this awakening, this stillness, for at least 60 breaths a day, growing that muscle. As the narrating mind begins to fall slightly more to the background, you can sense your own stability. You can feel the contact more and more with your own body. And this is the place from which we want to think, speak, and act. This stable, unified, and purified mind body. The chance for causing harm to you or others from here continues to be less likely. With just a couple breaths. And then I'd like you to call to mind that moment, a difficult, challenging, adrenaline producing moment. So you're probably going to have to put that up near the 5 or 6 on that 10-point scale. And the first thing we're going to do is just cultivate that event. So just take a moment while you're breathing, still stabilizing the body. You're going to recollect as vividly as you can that difficulty. I'm not going to use the one with the Venmo. I'm going to use one that happened after. And we're going to invite an exchange with another just for today's practice. Now, the habit is to focus exclusively on what the other did, said, and you need that for a moment because that was your trigger. So develop that as much as you need. But really where the work is to begin to turn the attention towards one's own reaction. And I'm just picturing the person, and I'm picturing really some almost immediate appraisals, which is this isn't okay, it's not right, it's not good, this should not be happening, you should not be doing this. And that all happened really beyond even languaging. And I would say it also carried a quality of criticism, of judgment and blame. Check in with the energy once you make contact with your own triggering event. And then place that light back on yourself, feeling into the physical sensations. See if you can recollect those. We don't consciously often pick those up, but you'll be able to generate some of that right now. I've got a lot of tightness in my upper chest, heart rate elevated. I can feel a little muscle tightening. I'm definitely moving into a fight mode. And stay in the body for a moment and really make contact with that distress. See if you can name at least 3 or 4 specific sensations. And then I'd like you to check in on particular thoughts. I just named several that I thought. See what you're thinking. Not right, not fair, not good. This is bad. Shouldn't be happening. You can't do this. But make contact most with the reality that you are experiencing this person, this interaction as the other. We could say the enemy, the problem. Often we perceive them as the cause, but we're going to talk about that later. Noticing those thoughts. We often create a kind of perpetrator victim scenario, some sense of something happening that shouldn't be happening. And just noticing that storyline. I had a here we go again thought, which is also delusional. And we'll talk about why. And then I'd like you to drop back into the body, in particular into the heart space. Feeling the effects, seeing if you can't also now name some feelings or emotions. Distressed, uncomfortable, angry, frustrated, annoyed, incredulous, disappointed, scared. Bad. And breathe in. And now we're going to apply some of the antidote. And we're just going to feel the effects of this, see which ones are useful, of benefit, and maybe accessible for you. Holding the experience. The very first instruction in the way of the Bodhisattva, and you've heard this instruction before, is to drive all blames into one. Now, we don't really mean blame here. It's slightly misinterpreted. What it does mean is that there can be no problem without you. It is more an accountability, a responsibility, and a recognition that all actions lead to other actions, and that the action of you is powerful, relevant, a contribution. And so see what the application of that awareness might be. Not with blame, but with understanding. There can be no problem. Doesn't mean what's happening isn't happening without the reaction of me. And right in this moment, the one I don't like, the one I don't want, the one I don't think is fair, the one I think is the other guy's fault, I have opportunity. And the opportunity is this: I can contribute to the end of suffering right now. I can be the healing agent for me, for the other, right now. And to even call that possibility to mind requires that pause. And so then I'd like you to recollect someone you see as wise and skillful, loving, kind, compassionate, maybe committed. And you're going to invite that person here and in. And you have a little conference with that person, a little mind meld, a little heart meld with what would be most helpful, what would be most of benefit. And you get some instructions from this wise, loving, compassionate friend. And then you're thinking like, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm capable of that. And so you invite that friend right into your own heart mind. The Buddha being now in you. And you call on all the resources you can. You call on your life commitments, your values, all the resources, all of the benefits that you have received. And you invite them here, right here to this moment. And then you remember. You remember the reality of impermanence. No moment is solid. No being is solid. Everything is changing every breath. And you remember that your snapshot of you and this other is a moment in time. And that how you are can cultivate a process of change. How you are right now. And the second recollection, the wisdom, is the one of intraconnectedness. That this being, like all beings, is a part of the family of things. In many traditions, we understand that this being, this perceived other, is you. Just like me. You want to be happy. Just like me. You're fearful, or sad, or scared, or overwhelmed. Just like me, you are deserving of love, attention, and care. The Tibetans say, remember that this is your mother and your father and your most precious child. And breathe that in. See if you can make contact with the truth of it. It's not an idea. And then we're going to reverse that salve, that antidote and good medicine a little bit to remember that we too have caused harm. We too have enacted unskillfully. We too have been unwise or unskillful, reactive, aggressive, unkind. And that we too, this is not who we are. And as we remember that we have also acted out, shut down, said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, we remember once again what it is we most needed. What would have been most of benefit to you? Is it silence? Is it the pause? Is it understanding, compassion, empathy? We know what it isn't, don't we? It's not criticism. It's not blame. It's not greater aggression. That it is never helpful, even when we feel righteous. And we're going to see now if we can create a scenario where what we understand we most needed, we can offer. Can we make that offer? And what would it look like? And in my case, as an example, I would just hug this person. I don't think any words would have been particularly helpful. And see if you could imagine yourself taking that action, saying those words, enacting the gesture, whatever it is, applying the good medicine. And then feel the effects of that. What happens? And make sure that you understand that it's different than what normally happens, even if you can't see that. And then drop back into that heart space. See how you are. May we both be free from distress. May we both have ease and well-being. May we remember who we both really are and act in accord. And then we cultivate the naturally arising compassion that in our wisdom always arises. In our wisdom always arises. And we make the offer, recollecting that this is a moment of suffering for both you and I. We accept the truth of this as a part of the human experience, not to be avoided, not to be denied. In a reality that cannot be escaped. May I hold this moment in stillness and silence. May I abide for us both, seeing what is most needed. And from my greatest heart, may I offer that good medicine to me and to you. May we all be happy. Breathing it in and out. May we all be free from delusion, from addiction, from aggression, from ignorance, from greed. May we be grateful and rejoice at our blessings and manifest those blessings right here, right now. Make them virtues, make them insights with all that good. And then may we rest and dwell in peace and ease, born of wisdom and compassion. And we rest in the embodied Buddha mind, Jesus mind, calling on all deities, all goodness in you. And all will be well. And all manner of thing will be well. And may this practice contribute hang in the body as best you can. Just inviting any gentle movements. The way of the Bodhisattva. And the instructions. And so what seemed workable? What seemed workable? Where'd you go? Oh, I could do that. Could be any of those applications. They're called antidotes that may serve. And how did you notice that? And anybody on Zoom there, please feel free to come on. What did you notice? Did you notice any shift anywhere?
I noticed the heart softening,
Yeah,
which is
yes, vagal tone.
just a little
One of the
bit.
first places we happen to catch it is somewhere in here. In here, right? That vagal tone, we call it. That central nervous system bundle. Tells you a lot if you're paying attention. Right? Some opening, softening, release, somebody might say. Right? Something, some kind of warmth. I have people write there's a natural, actual physiology to that, a kind of flooding opening that can happen. You can sometimes pick it up that way. I don't know if it always has the temperature, but there is a sense of energetic shift. Yeah, like it's okay. I'm okay. You're okay. It's okay. Doesn't mean it's right. So we keep making that distinction. But what we also know is that if you're coming from a place of fear, aggression, meing and youing, you will contribute to the problem. Oh, like really? No, I've done this for so long. And can I then feel for myself? Can I feel for myself in my own fear, in my own aloneness, in my own loss, whatever was happening there, rather than go, it's you or it's me, and one of us has got to go.
I started with more than 8 and a 5 or 6, and that was and that's a tendency, right? You think, oh, it's not so bad, and when you get in there, you realize, wait a minute, it's a little more gnarly than
I'm
I
on
had
fire.
anticipated.
Yeah.
And so the big shift for me, and that kind of ease that I felt and warmth or softening, finally when I turned to myself and I realized that I clearly am a portion of this conflict, and to have some compassion for myself, like I felt so like with the guilt and the shame and the othering that I was doing, to just kind of ease into that and recognize, like, and the biggest, I think, nugget that I brought away when you said they are unique. And just that allowing, right away.
Yeah, right? Isn't it true? Does it for me also. The reality of that, not the idea. Forget about ideas. They really don't work. You have to be able to feel the truth of that intra-connection. And in fact, it is a truth. It's just one that we make partial, or we make specific, like, well, not really, because they came from Italy and I came from Germany, so that can't be right. Right? We do crazy. That's crazy, by the way. We go into delusion making, right? Or well, that wouldn't be my mother, because my mother, and in fact, it is true. Why? Why is it true? What's the essential natural law? Because it's there, which is I can't be here without everything that is also here. That's why. I like the idea that I could be, though. My ego loves that notion, but it's not actually true. Without everything that is here, I do also not exist. And the physics say it's so. So y'all got that going for you if you need a little material for evidence. Right? And so 2,600 years ago, now almost 27, when there wasn't the science to that, there was still the understanding. And it came through more than one religion. It came through more than one wisdom, right? It came, of course, it was not unique to a group. It's not true. It's not true. The Lakota Indians, brilliant. Brilliant. They understood. They have a phrase I probably will have tattooed on me one day that I'll recollect that says, all are me. And I am all. Lakota Indians. They're from the upper Northwest, Midwest.
I found myself having to go through a lot of sadness to get to the place where I could not feel that heaviness.
Yes, we have to allow, don't we? That's that aloneness. That's that vulnerability in us, right? That we don't like either because it hurts. And so it's easier to be pissed off. It's easier to blame because it's easier not to feel them.
What gives you a feeling too when you're pissed off? Like instead of the sadness, it gives you this,
That's
I'm
right.
all powerful.
Yeah. It's a beautiful defensive structure. And by the way, I have no judgment about it. I do it. I just know who's really in there. More in the lost little girl, in me, the scared one, right? In me, who often feels incapable of a skillful action. But that's not all there is it? It's not all there is. There's the one who knows that in you also, the one who knows that vulnerability or that tenderness or that fear, who is not only that and can also be, can it? You go, that too, mine too. And if I can touch that little person, precious child in me, then I am more likely able to connect with it in the other as well. Because that's usually what's happening. One of us has regressed into our fearful, overwhelmed, scared, right, deficient, whatever those qualities are, place. And guess what it does? It offers that same opportunity to you. Can you touch that in you? That overwhelmed, little lost, scared person. And if I fall in the well of that, now we're just both drowning, right? We're both just drowning. And wow, how many times do you have to drown? Well, as many as you do, right? As many as you do. With hopefully the training here to go, can I see the truth of this? Or whatever part I can capture this moment. And as Dia said, it requires compassion. Because who could look otherwise? Who could look if the only benefit would be blame, recrimination, judgment, hatred? And why would you? Why would you? In any direction, why would you? What benefit would there be? This is the limit of mindfulness, by the way, and why mindfulness alone was never understood to be sufficient. It was never taught as an independent of compassion, ever. It was understood. In fact, it was called the two wings of the bird. The two wings of the bird. One feeding and needing the other in order to manifest. Right? There can be no sufficient truth, however right you think you are. And boy, can I think I'm right. Whew. And I can write a dissertation, should have been a law, on why I am more dangerous, right? Rationale, the cliff notes I got, right? I can do a whole annotated thing at the end. Smart can get you in a lot of trouble, but not smart enough, right? Who's smart enough? Because that's not so smart. Because what? You're propagating harm. And we can even forget about the other for a moment. You're creating harm for you. You're creating illness, disease for you. That anger is not serving you. However righteous, however much you go, yeah, but it's better than sadness. We all do it, right? Nope. Nope. Not.
The things I found myself saying to myself was that it is okay to turn them off. If you,
It might be skillful,
yeah, it's, yeah,
couldn't
that's
it?
what I was finding.
Couldn't it be skillful? And in fact, if you don't have anything else in your pocketbook, might be the right thing to do. Right? Might be exactly right. Which is rather than, well, that would be beautiful, or rather than, which is not going to make things better either. The very best thing you could do is to say, rather than cause more harm with either fight or flighting, I'm going to choose nothing. And that then I create what I call loving space, which means I will do this now for the benefit of us both. And that's big. Can you hear that? I will do this, step away, not turn from you, but actually choose to step away for the benefit of us both. And we've talked about sometimes I'm going to step right towards you for the benefit of us both. And I talked about that instance with my neighbor who was ill. Right? Because I understood that taking a step back was not going to be skillful and was going to accidentally propagate harm. Right? This is skillfulness. This is mindfulness, clear seeing. What do we really have here? Dropping in wholly on it, and then saying, in the interest of us both, as you are my mother, my father, and my most precious child, how do I protect all? It's right here, right now. Jeanette says, thank you. Okay, get those on. Here we go. A lot of discomfort, turning away, hand on heart, good for you. Staying with the pain, beautiful, compassion for self and the other. That's perfect practice. The discomfort cannot be avoided. Don't we all wish there was that silver bullet? Me too. I don't know that. And we're going to stay with that notion of spiritual bypassing on that. We could all think of something more pleasant, couldn't we? Everybody's capable, right? I'm making a little fun strawberry daiquiri party tomorrow for my kids. My son, when he was 5 years old, we used to give him little virgin strawberry daiquiris. And we all recollected a moment the other day where he walked in at 5 and said, man, I need a daiquiri. And so we're going to revive that pleasant moment with virgin daiquiri. The point being, now I'm in strawberry daiquiri mode.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Sometimes, let me restate this. We have all made the mistake. It's easy to go into blame. Driving blames into oneself is misunderstood because it's not blame, right? It's not blame. It's clear seeing. I am a part of this, aren't I? I am a part of this. Damn it. Damn it. And good news. Isn't it? I am a part of this. Good news. Good news. And it may be I said nothing. It may be I needed to take a step back, but I didn't do so with aggression. I did so out of mindfully understanding I am a part of this. And then with compassion, what is the greatest contribution I can make this moment, no other, because often we take a step back and get brilliant, don't we? And that's not for recollection and wisdom. It might, oh, I could have, and maybe next time I will. That's wisdom gathering, but we don't often do it that way. We Monday night quarterback often, which is I shoulda, why didn't I? I can't believe I did that same stupid thing I always do, or that you always do, right? And we contract it more, we shut down more, we're in more distress, and we have no mind and no heart now for the solution. Do we? We have no mind now and no heart now for the solution.
I do a lot. Instead of the defensiveness is just to go numb.
Yeah.
And have no, don't think about it. And
Yeah.
it won't be there.
Yep.
And then there's solutions.
That's the third of the three levels of reaction. One is to aggress, right? We call it, right? Ugh, go that away. The other, ugh, go this way. And the other's what? What problem? What day? What? I don't know. Sharon Salzberg talks about that. That's a strategy of hers by virtue of her early trauma and loss of parents and being shifted from place to place. And she says, I can, and the practice was beautiful for her. The compassion practice was her practice for that reason, because I feel nothing. I feel nothing, which is maybe one of those strong protections, isn't it? Yeah. And I don't know a way out of that either. I know the recognition of it is beautiful. And then I know little moments at a time, we tolerate discomfort, just little one, right? Not an 8, probably, maybe like a 4. And go, just can I do that and not throw up? Or can I touch that, throw up, and stay with myself? Right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
But isn't that there it is. That's muscle. Can I still throw up? But at least not abandon myself in the midst of it. See, this is still the training.
I have a question. When you go numb, is that synonymous with repression? I mean, is the numbness, it's there because you're numb to facing it.
That's right. Suppression and repression. One is less conscious, one is more conscious, and they're both disconnected.
So if you're feeling numb, you know.
Yeah,
it's
if
there.
you know numb, yeah. We talk a lot about this in the body scan. If you're feeling nothing in the feet, it's not because the feet aren't feeling. It's because you have learned how to disconnect. Right? And we don't rush into the feet either. We just say, can you feel the breeze? Can you feel warmth or coolness? Can you begin right in these little low waters to make contact? We don't jump into a tsunami. Mostly it drowns us, right? So it isn't like, let's rip that Band-Aid off. That it doesn't work well. And that's now the definition of trauma sensitive. Trauma sensitive means We're not just gonna go, you just need to deal with it. You just need to get over it. Well, not that helpful. Doesn't help that well. I have thought that both about myself and about another, and it has never served. Does it? Can I acknowledge where I am? And then with compassion, say, I can be there, I can't, I need to do this first, maybe take a walk around the block, maybe, right, all more skillful than deadening. We usually get the deadening training from someone. By the way, it's usually not an original or bright idea. It came from somebody who was also doing it. Usually in our own families or in our own, we saw the architecture there somewhere.
It's kind of like people in a situation. Oh, I'm fine. Then you know when they're saying I'm fine, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah. Well, you can't always be fine or fabulous. And so I had a chiropractor friend. Every time I saw him, I'd say, how you doing? And he'd go, I'm fabulous. And it took me about 15 years. I mean, I'm slow. And I went, that can't always be true. And it doesn't mean it's not also true. But I'm also asking, how are you? Right? Not just that part. Even when it's true. I live in this house. I'm going to live in this house even on a bad day. And I could go, well, my house is fabulous. And it could be true. Well, it's a partial truth. But I really want to know how you are. Right? And he said, oh, well, you don't want to talk about that. That's a bummer. I went, no, that's actually maybe how it is. And I'm actually asking, right? Because I really do want to know how you really are. I'm not just going, how are you? Just give me the Cliff Note version of I'm fine and how are you? Fine, too good. We have to give that up, don't we? That how are you? Because we really too often don't mean it. Lisa says, oh, she's just signing off. Great opportunity to practice. Yeah. She's got some stuff going on with the remodel. Good news, bad news. Activated, but not a 6.5. So let's keep that in mind. Let's remind each other before we go, how will you know that this would not be the best moment for speaking, acting, or even thinking? Because you're probably thinking the storyline. Shouldn't be, it's not, why, how come, always. How will you know? How do you know you're 6.5? Body, always the body.
Think that's the culprit, not feeling.
Thinking.
Just
Mm.
and
Oh, doesn't it?
in a stressful situation.
Yes,
And I like the Indian.
yes.
It's
Tap and release.
bouncing on
Yep.
space.
Or that's right. That is in the American Indian tradition.
Well, so during this, it's kind of thinking about an instance with another person that's going to be in my life forever, and I'm struggling with how to deal with certain. Yeah. And this one helped me to see beyond that. I'm still trying to fix it. I'm still trying to do something to make it
Different or them different.
right.
Usually.
And then in reality, all I can do is change myself,
That's right.
which I had been stuck in.
Yeah.
realized, I'm not sure where they are, maybe the thing about they are your parent, or your child, I really hit home.
Yeah.
And that, they're probably struggling the same thing. And that aggression against aggression, nothing's going to change. So
It won't address the
it
pain.
reminded me that since I think that we're all bodhisattvas,
Yeah.
bodhisattvas really would just
Embrace,
show that love,
embrace it.
passion. And I felt this overwhelming warmth and release and light,
Mhm.
knowing that that was the right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, we
is
don't,
the goal.
we don't demand anything then, do we? And many of us, I could sense that many of us offered something like that, right? Which is some kind of open-heartedness. And that is the practice. Whether it's a hug or an understanding or a kindness, right in the face of the person caught in their pain. Right there in their pain. And if we remember that they're in pain, that's where our aggression comes from, and that's where their aggression or shut down or don't right comes from, then you couldn't do what you have given yourself permission to do. You couldn't. You couldn't go, you need to be different. And the way you need to be different is I'm going to do this, and then you should see that in me and be different. That's actually not the path. I'm going to do it right. This is my number one failed attempt. I will do it right, and then you should do it right too. Nope. Doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. It means I should do it without expectation, without demand, because that's aggressive. Isn't it? Because that's aggressive too. You need to be different. Right? So we're going to practice. Watch for your crossover, we call it on the stress scale, that 1 to 5 something, pretty workable territory. You're going to get activated. That often is quality of mind recognized first, because now we're looping a narrative. We're looping the narrative. Shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, why, how come, why not, you, whatever that narrative is. And that's happening before the body kicks in. Most of us miss it there because we buy in and believe it, but now your body's active. It will be up in here, vagal tone. Carrie says here, right? And begin with, I'm sorry. You get to start with, I'm sorry to me. Sorry to me for getting caught in the ways I get caught again and again, right? And those taps are things we can actually use also as signals. I teach this in couples work. Tap, 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 right? Do no harm. Do no harm. That's the key. Could we practice that? And the answer is, of course, we could. It's already 9 now. Something I want to sit for just a second together on this beautiful July day. Mhm. And preparing for celebration. And what we're celebrating is goodness. We're celebrating opportunity. We often say we're celebrating independence. I'm going to stick with the word freedom. We're celebrating freedom, and that is our highest and greatest aspiration. That all beings everywhere, without exception, could be safe and happy and free. And over this long weekend, may we be filled. May we be filled with appreciation and gratitude for all the freedoms that have been accorded to us. May we be grateful, and may we show evidence of that gratitude. May we take delight, be joyful and glad for the privilege of this life, for the privileges we have all been offered, and for the privilege of this practice and of this human life. May we all be well. May we all be happy. May we all hold our own hearts and know that this is the heart of all beings. So be it. Thank you. Next Saturday would be the last time we'll be in the garden for 3 weeks. Because I won't be here, and will not be the only time you could be outside practicing, because you can always come up to Quest Haven for that 9 o'clock to
And that Saturday, is it gonna be 9?
Yeah.
Or is it?
I will be there at 7:30, but I'm going to be, I hike in the morning. And so that'll come out in the newsletter, which is if on a Saturday you want to come hike with me first. I go out about 7 to hike, and then I come back and usually get cleaned up so I can stand myself, and then start sitting at 9. And I'll put that schedule in for Saturday. The Saturday schedule, I'll invite people up early to hike if they want to do that. It's lovely there. All right, everyone, be well. Good to see you all. Take good care. Please
Yeah,
take a
thank
book.
you.
I've got some books